success meets psychology in Paulina's Way. Strengthen your mindset every week. Success story every Wednesday. Traders who broke through their limits. Psychology session every Friday. Join now. Hit the bell. One session can change your trading forever.
Hello traders, hello, welcome back to another success story here at FundingPips. Today we are shining a spotlight on one of our youngest FundingPips traders who's also very determined. And we will be giving away 5K challenge accounts, so stay and stick around to find out how to enter the giveaway. Now, let me talk about Erik. Erik is from Germany. And he's only 20 years old, and he already has achieved great rewards from FundingPips in a very short period of time. And in about 5 months, he received the rewards, and we're going to talk about them. And now he's trading full-time, running his 100K account. And he has chosen swing trading style, which helped him to build that consistency where he could fully focus on Euro pairs, and he's going to maybe talk more about them too. And what makes Erik's story special isn't about numbers, it's about his mindset. He's built himself what he calls unconventional trading style. Instead of chasing those perfect entries on smaller time frames, he is more focused on the direction of the market, and he's more focused on the high win rates, small gains, and letting his discipline lead his path on his trading journey. He has faced, of course, doubts and all of the pressures that trading journey can serve you with, but his determination pulled him through those setbacks, and today he's here with us, ready to share his story. So Erik, it is a pleasure having you here. Welcome to Success Stories at FundingPips.
All right. Thank you guys for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Amazing. And in the name of your rewards, we want to give away those 5K accounts and help some traders to have a better start maybe at the trading journey. But now let's focus on you. Let's focus on you, and let's focus on where did trading start. I mean, you've been 5 months here with us at FundingPips, but let's take you back to the beginning. How did you start trading? And tell us about your story.
Yeah, so I've gotten into trading very early on, and it wasn't even with CFDs, Forex, or those kind of instruments. It was with crypto. It was a time when crypto was really booming and everybody knew about it. It was that time when basically even like your classmate talked about it. There's this kind of thing called Bitcoin, right? And this was my first interaction with trading as a whole. And since then, I was just always fascinated by it. The fact that there's someone just sitting at his desk making a large amount of money while just being very he doesn't have to work physically, right?
Yes.
This is just what always fascinated me about it. And those were like my first interactions with it. I also made a great amount of losses even back then, when I just turned 18 and tried my best into the crypto world. But it was, I would say, it wasn't a great experience. And this is very normal, I would also say, as traders. When they just begin, they don't really make those profits, because everything great in life takes time. But fast forward, I have gotten into trading Forex, and I've stick with that for 3 years then, because I just thought crypto is more of a long-term investment thing. And ever since then, I've been just trading Forex. And I have also very special pairs that I'm trading. We will talk about that also in a bit.
Yes, for sure. And I love what you have mentioned, and what fascinated you about trading in general is that you just get to sit at your desk and click a few buttons. I mean, we know it's not that easy, but you don't actually have to physically go out there and work or do a physical work. And this is kind of a very fresh perspective, because it's so grounding because people have to work so hard for $100, $200, $300. And all we have to do as traders, if you think about it, is to follow our rules and patiently wait. That's it.
Yes.
That's it. And
Yep.
sometimes very often that's the hardest part. But okay, so you started trading, and then how did you come across FundingPips? How was it? Where was it? And tell us about that experience as well.
Yeah, so basically, I've been watching prop firms ever since they basically came out, right? Prop firms have been in the industry for quite some years now. I would say it's still kind of a new thing, right? Traders are not used to having that. Prop firms are maybe around for 5 years, or they're longer around, but that the general public knows about prop firms as a whole is quite a new thing.
Yep. Yeah.
And I've been with other prop firms before FundingPips. And after I've gotten to FundingPips, because of a friend referred me to it, he was like, well, check it out. There's this new firm. You could have quite a good max drawdown there, and I was like, yeah, this is a great firm. What I liked about FundingPips the most is that on some prop firms, the problem is that you have a max drawdown of 8% for the regular two-step account. And what I just loved is that you have 10%. And
Yes.
people don't understand what kind of huge difference that actually makes. Those 2% aren't just 2%. Those are basically, if you risk 1%, right? If we go about it that you always risk 1%, that's basically 2 more chances that you have. So
Definitely.
this is something that really stuck with me. And yeah.
Amazing. I mean, those 2 more chances can be quite significant, actually, because we're talking here maximizing your drawdown in a best possible way. So I'm really glad that that stood out to you. So then you started with us, but before I go into this, I want to kind of understand how or what kind of challenges did you face early on your trading journey as a trader? Because I think a lot of viewers that are watching us will be able to resonate with some of the things you went through. They are potentially going through right now themselves.
Yeah, so it started I would say, like any other journey, I would say, honestly, because every profitable trader that I've speak to, right, and everybody that is successful in trading, they had all that kind of phase where they were just struggling. And the kind of struggling moments were, for me personally, because I had to kind of juggle a regular job while also having to maintain my trading journey as a whole. And that was by far the hardest part. So I was working at a school, right? Because I dropped out of school and I didn't really have much of a perspective, and I was just working there cleaning stuff. And I had to kind of juggle the very low income that I had while also investing into prop firms. And that is by far the most struggle you can ever have. And then additionally, also, when you have that little time focusing on trading, especially because trading, you have most of the time very specific hours you have to be present in the market, right? So how are you going to manage that, having a job while also having this kind of trading journey you're trying to accomplish? And this was a very hard struggle. I've also lended money from people, if I'm being honest, to fund my trading journey. And I lost it all straight up. It took a lot of time until I actually understood what I have to do in order to stay disciplined and make money out of this. And so these were my most struggles, and it was a hard time, but here we are right now.
I mean, thank you for sharing that. And you're right. All of the successful traders went through the struggle. Of course, we go through different type of struggle. Like you had your specific experience, and also as a young man, when you're like, I'm gonna drop out of school and then I'm gonna kind of focus on the next thing, but I'm not sure what the next thing is, and then trading appears and you kind of proceeded with that. But at the same time, you had to facilitate yourself financially, and all of that you went through. I am pretty sure a lot of people can resonate with, because perhaps they did not have exactly the same experience, but some level of it. And I think you are giving us a statement that at a young age, you are able to make. It's possible.
Absolutely.
Even if you are faced with adversities, even though it's hard, even though you even lost money that you borrowed from other people, etc., it is possible, and that is the biggest statement. And honestly, well done for that. I'm really happy for you that now we're sitting here
Yeah.
having that conversation. It's really nice. Now,
Yeah.
what was the part that changed for you? Was it purely based on timing, or was there something that you implemented either into your daily routine or your trading routine or your trading approach that helped you shift from losing to actually being consistent?
Yeah. So there were a couple of things that I had to change in order to become profitable. I would say it is 100% the psychology part of trading. People love to overlook this, and they think that the part of trading is that, if I tell you my exact strategy, then you'll have the same
Mm,
achievements as I have, right? Or if somebody else give me their strategy. But the reality is, psychology is by far the hardest part of trading, right? And so I would say that once I fixed my mindset and not hopping from strategy to strategy, this is the turning point when I found the most success in my trading. Definitely, by far. And what I exactly changed was I looked at it from a long-term perspective, because people like to overestimate what they're about to do in 3 months, but they
yes,
underestimate what they're about to do in 3 years. And that is the problem, right? So they don't see that vision that this could go very far, and it just takes time, because everything great in life takes time, not even
amazing.
about trading.
Oh my God, I love your perspective on life and on the trading journey. It's so healthy and refreshing. And honestly, I'm gonna mention your age because at 20-year-old to think like that, is quite magnificent. You so right. I think that overestimation of what we can achieve, I think is very often fueled by social media and seeing other traders and seeing, oh my God, they got this much and that much. But we are all on our personal journey. And if you think about it, when you try to rush the process and breach the account or, lose the account or whatever, then you go back to square one. You have to purchase another one and start the journey again. And the time goes by. So during that period, you could have been getting yourself out of drawdown just really slowly and with patience, for example. It's all about that false sense of urgency that traders experience, that is actually stopping them from progressing and moving forwards as traders. So thank you so much for sharing that. Now, how would you say trading shaped your life? Because, as traders, we experience a lot. I would say it's like a crash course of learning about ourselves. Like you said, psychology is so important. What did you learn about yourself during that process of becoming a consistent trader?
What I learned about myself when
Yes.
Yeah, so I learned about myself that I'm just impatient. And I would also reflect that your trading style reflects kind of your personality,
Mm-hmm.
because maybe swing traders are more patient, but then scalpers are a little bit more impatient. They want that they're just fast people in a sense, right? I think that
Yeah.
your trading style, your approach to the market represents you as you as a human a little bit. So yeah, I would just say that um, by being more consistent and thinking long term, that is just basically what made it for me. Yeah.
Amazing. Okay, now let's talk about the rewards because that's the uh, exciting part and the rewarding part.
Yeah.
You know, it's seeing it for yourself. Whether the reward is $5,000, whether it's $100, whether it's 10,000, it doesn't
Yeah.
matter. It's what it means to us as traders that when we receive that first reward and we're like, it's possible. My skill set can pay me money. Describe one of your most memorable rewards with FundingPips and what did it mean to you at that moment?
Yeah. So I have about 6,700 generated with FundingPips alone, and my my payouts are not huge amounts. That are having a payout 3,000, then it's another 3,000. So because in my way of trading, we'll also get into that a little bit later.
Mhm.
I steady on very steady and small growth over time. So all of my payouts are barely hitting above 1%. It's always just that 800, 500, those kinds of payouts that get me into that large amount of money over time.
Yes.
This is another thing that I just keep on preaching, and I can't talk about it enough, basically, that instead of chasing that 5K in a single trade, of course, that is possible, right? That is possible doing that. But for me, I like to have a very, very low risk exposure. So I'm not losing that 150K that I have with you in total. And that is just basically it, what I would say.
Amazing. I really love this because, if more traders had this approach to the market, a lot of them would be more consistent sooner rather than later, because
Yeah,
there is this pressure of making certain amounts, but actually if you just stopped and you took,
yeah,
what you have earned from rewards, a lot of traders would see actually it compounds really nicely, and I think
absolutely.
for
Yeah.
you, would you say it's that shift that you had from thinking about trading short term to thinking about it long term that helped you to actually slow down and say, actually, if I slow down, it's going to speed up my process to consistency?
Yeah. That is the crazy part about it, right? So once you understand that taking it slower, right, that actually makes you faster into your journey. That's the
Wow.
crazy part about it. Absolutely. I can only agree with you there that, and this also translates into less is more. It's a very basic way of saying it.
Yeah.
And everybody who's watching live stream has heard it 1,000 times, but it is really like that. Once I started implementing more of a simple approach into the market, so I'm talking about simplicity, but also just less of the things that I'm doing, that helped me and speed up my process by so much, right?
Amazing.
Traders don't understand this, that you only need a couple of things in order to be profitable. And then, of course, there's that big pillar of psychology that, is pretty
Okay.
hard to master, but that is like the end goal of mastering the psychology, what is in your head. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. And this is the reason why, guys, Friday's psychology series, we touch on different topics for that exact reason, because that's the
Yeah.
biggest mastery of your lifetime, working on your psychology as a trader, as a professional. But, like being a professional at certain job or just going about your life doesn't shine a light so much on your psychological skills as much as trading does. Trading immediately picks out, this is what you're struggling with, this is what you're struggling with, this is what you're struggling with. It's like a magnifier that's going to tell you what are the areas of psychology you need to develop about yourself in order to become better. Now, let's continue talking about the rewards, because I think, the way you are approaching it is completely different and it's really refreshing. So I want to kind of understand the impact of those rewards and the kind of peace of mind that you are seeing from yourself as a trader. So every time you compound those rewards, what does it feel like? Does that help you become a better trader? Does that help you with your goal? Does that help you with your lifestyle? Like, tell us a little bit more about that.
So, about like the state of mind that I'm in when I'm having those payouts. So, let me start all over, like from the very beginning. So,
Yes.
I would say that the problem is that people say you have to be a robot when trading, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you have to be completely just, okay, I won, I don't care. I lost, I don't care. And I agree to that. But the thing is that we as humans, we're not meant to be a robot, right? You can't deny that we're not robots. So instead of trying to force yourself into that robot kind of mindset, you rather accept it as a whole, right? So I lost, okay. I won, okay. Whatever it is. And same goes for the payouts. So I don't expect somebody to be just neutral, because be happy about it, right? Be happy that you have gotten a payout, because this is an achievement, right? This is an achievement that you have gotten into a payout. Not many get it. And because it's quite of a hard journey, but it is worth it. And that is why I'm saying that being I kind of lost my word there.
No, it's okay.
So what
Well,
was it about?
it was about how you are, whether
Oh
those
yeah,
rewards.
about the payouts. Yeah,
Yes,
about the
yes,
payouts.
yes,
So
yes.
so when you get a payout, you don't buy yourself that nice bracelet or watch, whatever it is, right? You're not there yet, I would say. Invest that money into another challenge, because that is what I did. When I got in a payout, the first thing that came to my mind was I have to buy another challenge. And then after the second pet, I got to buy another challenge. And that keeps on going because it compounds extremely, extremely fast, right? Because for some of the guys who are trading maybe smaller accounts like 5K, 10K, that advice is even more important for those kind of traders, because when you get a 5K account and you, let's just say, make 3% on it, right? Great achievement so far, but that's $150. That $150 cannot really buy you much in the real world. You have to take that money and try to buy a 25K account, whatever your budget allows at that time. And because this is exactly what I did, right? So I passed the 50K with you guys first, and after I've gotten that money, I immediately reinvested into a 100K account, passed that one as well. And that is the best way of compounding your money, right? And the plans for the future are only going to continue that exact thing, reinvesting it into challenges, because it just compounds so well.
It does. And, thank you for sharing that, because it's so important also for those traders who cannot purchase maybe 100K accounts straight away. Smaller accounts work so well, because you should treat it as a test for yourself and see how well you can manage the account. And once you get to the rewards, reinvest and grow. Because I think, Erik, you are a living proof that it's not about the percentage of profits, it's about growing the capital behind you.
Yes,
So,
yes.
because that is your focus. And based on that, you are actually decreasing that pressure on yourself, as a trader.
Yeah,
So,
and also the
go
thing
on.
is, so this is also what I teach my students in my mentorship. The thing is, growing your capital is by far the most important thing. So let's just take a 100K account, right? And you want to have 3K a month, right? So that's your goal. You're okay. I want to have 3K a month. I can pay my rent. I can pay my food and whatever it is with that. Now, what people like to do is they have, let's just say, a 25K account, and they try to make 3K on that 25K account. And they don't realize how much that is percentage-wise.
Yes.
And
yes.
what I always say is, instead of increasing your risk, increase your capital. Because if you increase your capital, your profit that you make out of that capital will automatically rise. But if you increase your risk, then, well, initially you could make more profit, but over the long run, you will lose that account. Whether it's a prop firm or a personal account, you will lose it. And then all that 25K is gone.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree with you. And that's a really great advice. Now, let's talk a little bit about your trading style, because you are more focused on being more accurate as a trader, but you are more laid back, because perhaps those ideal entries with small stop losses don't interest you. What interests you is direction of the market and maximizing the probability, you as a trader. So what is your approach? And also, how did you find your approach? How did you kind of find out about yourself, this is going to suit me best? Because I think at times traders very often go to 1 minute time frame thinking I can make it happen fast, but that doesn't happen, so talk to us a little bit about that.
So my way of trading, I'm not even sure. I think that perhaps there hasn't been anybody here that has been interviewed with this kind of trading. I'm pretty sure about that. And I'm not just saying that because I think I'm so special, but let me quickly introduce it to you. So basically, what is the traditional risk to reward that traders like to go for? It is, let's go for a 1-4-2, let's go for a 1-4-3, or maybe something in between. Maybe there are even traders who go 1-4-4 or whatever it is, right? And so what is the rule of thumb? What is the rule of thumb? Basically, the higher your risk to reward, the lower your win rate can be in order to be profitable, right? So as a quick example, if I'm going for a 1-4-2, I only have to win 33% of the time or higher to be profitable. If it's less than that, so my win rate is less, then I'm not profitable. What I do is I don't concentrate on the risk to reward to have it higher as my as what I'm risking, because And this is the thing, right? So for example, my risk reward is, let's just say, hey, I'm risking 1% to gain 0.4%. And now to most people, that's absolutely insane. They're thinking I'm a gambler, I'm this and that, right? And they just totally deny all of the different payouts that I've achieved over the years now. And what I go for is I focus on where price is going to go next instead of trying to time it with that tiny little stop loss, trying to
Yeah.
figure out, okay, price will not go there. I'm rather a little bit laid back, as you said, right? I have my target. I have a specific target that I'm looking at as a take profit. And then my entry doesn't matter too much because my stop loss is pretty high. Now, that way of trading requires a great amount of win rate. So your win rate has to be extremely high in order to be profitable, because as we have just talked, if your risk reward is high, then your win rate can be low. But if it's the other way around, if your risk reward is low, then your win rate has to be high. And that's exactly what I do. And again,
So do you know what I want to say? I'm sorry to interrupt, but you've maximized on your skill set, because I think, correct me if I'm wrong, what you have noticed about yourself in the market is that you are pretty good at being able to tell the bias of the day, whether the price is going to go up or down. But perhaps what was letting you down was your entries. So this is the reason why you kind of thought, what if my entries will not matter? What if I increase the stop loss size and just focus on the direction of the market?
Yeah, this is the thing. So if you go onto ICT, SMC, whatever it is out there, right? So I don't know for anybody who has watched the ICT 2022 mentorship, just as an example, but basically it is taught that you focus on time and price, right? It's like a graph, price and time. And the problem there is I only focus on the price. I don't focus on the time. It's totally okay for me being off because I'm used to going into drawdown, right?
Yep.
And that also comes with the advantage of having. So when I go into the market, I'm very sure that I'm going to win that day. Now, of course, if I lose, then I'm back like about 4 or 3 wins. That is understandable. I can't win them all. You're right. You can't have 100% win rate.
Of course.
But if it is profitable over the long run, if you have an edge into the market, then it doesn't matter as long as it has edge.
Absolutely, 100%. And I really love, your approach and how you are very sure about your approach in the market. Did you spend a lot of time back testing? Did you spend a lot of time forward testing? Did you spend a lot of time in the market? Or this is the price of the mistakes that you went through?
Okay, so back testing is like a whole nother thing. So
okay.
As I said earlier, I had a job that I had to work on, and when you're working 8 hours a day, coming home, you have to make yourself food, go into the shower, and all of that kind of stuff. Those are little things, but they do take time and they add up. And now having those couple of hours a day to backtest is detrimental for your trading growth. You have to backtest. So I have backtested so much that I'm having nightmares of the charts, right? It's like an exaggeration, but I have backtested so much that just by looking at the chart, I know what is about to happen. Again, I'm not right every single time. But for me, once I look into the chart, and that comes from you guys backtesting so much, you kind of have mastered your eyes in a sense. Your eyes recognize what's going to happen, right?
Yes.
And so I can't stress enough on backtesting. It's the single thing that we as traders have an advantage of the market. The fact that you can go back into the chart. People don't realize this because it's such a normal thing. People don't realize the fact that you can go back into the chart and see what happened previously for basically free, right? There are platforms you can pay for, but for basically free, that is your greatest advantage. The only thing that it doesn't really that you don't really learn from it is psychology, but that is like another topic on itself. But you have to have a proven strategy. You have to have an edge into the market. If not, you're not profitable.
Absolutely. I think anything that we do in the market, what traders have to learn is that it's data driven, because it's all about probabilities, mathematics, probabilities. We can't be 100% right. Therefore, it's our job to see what works, what doesn't, and what is the percentage to our advantage. But also there is one thing, such an important thing that you said. It's about training your brain. It's about pattern recognition. It's about feeding your eyes what to anticipate, what works, what doesn't work, because that is registering in your subconscious mind. So then automatically, then later, if you train yourself for hours consistently, you take that knowledge into the markets without even knowing. Your brain will kind of see, like sometimes when I personally enter a trade, and it kind of goes in line with, my strategy, but my eyes see it's a losing trade, because I see the candles formations, etc. And I'm like, why have I entered this? And I'm kind of like, okay, everything aligns. I'm not here to predict, but I'm like, I can see the way things are. This is not going where I want it to go, So it's a really great advice. And then I think the other part is the psychology. Now, talk to us about your psychology. What did you do to work on your psychology? And when did you have that realization moment that, do you know what, I need to stop lying to myself? It is my psychology that I need to work on in order to change things.
So before I became profitable as a whole, I always thought that it's my strategy that it's lacking, and I've gone onto YouTube trying to look for the best strategy, give me that 80% strategy with a 145 risk to reward, right? We've all been there, but you start to realize that it's psychology, as you just said. And I don't have like an exact moment where I realize, wow, okay, now I'm on point with my psychology. I would say that it is a process that comes over time. So after just losing so many times, because you're making the same mistake again and again, right? You're taking your profit too early, or your stop loss is not there where it has to be, or you're entering too early, too late, whatever it is, or the trade setup is already happened, it already reached your take profit and you weren't able to take it, but you're still entering for no reason because of FOMO. So there wasn't like an exact point for me to that, but after doing the mistake over and over again, I thought to myself, okay, this time is going to be it where I'm not going to FOMO. And okay, then I did the mistake again. Okay, this time is not going to be it. But after some time, you just kind of get sick of this and you realize, man, I have to be way more patient. This is such a thing I keep on preaching about, just being patient, right? So I used to be wanting to trade every single day. And we all been there, right? We want to trade every single day because it's kind of a pleasure, right? It's kind of similar to gambling, but trading is not gambling. That is the point I'm trying to make. So there are weeks where I'm not taking a trade at all. Last week, for example, I haven't traded at all. And this is the thing, even though I'm more of a type of trader who likes to take a trade a day, right? But if the setup doesn't present itself, I'm done with my day. I'm just spending time with whatever I love. Because this is also another thing. So for anybody that is asking, why did you start trading to begin with? So it is the financial success. It is the success that you're getting in terms of, well, I have a lot of time. And the thing is, but by sticking to the charts every single day, that is the exact opposite why you started trading to begin with. You started trading to have a bunch of time, but you're forcing yourself into the chart. You're working against your goal. So you're not left with a bunch of time as you wanted to. And yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I have nothing else to add here. This was absolutely wonderful the way you explained it. So now I have a question. What advice would you give to someone new to trading and considering to kind of, start their journey with FundingPips? What would you tell them what to do and what not to do?
When you just start trading, I think that kind of phase where you go onto YouTube and see all of those kinds of 90%, 100% win rate strategies is kind of inevitable, right? Because there is just so much noise, right? There is such a high volume of those kinds of videos or posts or whatever. It's kind of inevitable to ignore that and not recognize it. But my biggest advice is don't trick your brain into thinking that is trading, because it isn't.
True.
This is the best advice I could give is don't be so negative about yourself when you see somebody else having a 30K payout, 100K payout. Take it as inspiration. We all like that, right? We all like to have that argument. I'm taking it as inspiration. And I also took it as inspiration. But even now, I don't try to compare myself to somebody having, 10 times the amount of payout in total. So don't try to demotivate yourself in a summary, and be very consistent. Being consistent is the most important thing about this. As I said, after I went to a job, right, and then came back home, I was back testing for 3 to 4 hours until I only have 2 hours to sleep, and then I had to go to my job again, right? So this kind of life, it is hard, but again, it is worth it, and you have to sacrifice it, right? Before you start this trading thing, please, guys, accept that you have to sacrifice things. It is normal. It is absolutely normal. So don't be thinking that you'll get success overnight. It takes a bunch of time until you get there. For some, it takes a couple of months. For some, it takes years. But don't expect yourself to be the outlier, right? Don't expect yourself to be the anomaly. I'm going to be the one who makes it in 1 month. Please don't, right? Because it takes time, and that is normal. Losing is also normal. It's part of the process.
Amazing. Thank you so much for saying that. I really loved every single word that you said. And honestly, I am so inspired with what you just said, just coming home after work, doing everything that you need to do, and then sitting down and backtesting, sacrificing your sleep because you saw a bigger picture. And, you took a chance on yourself, on your goals, on what you want to achieve. And honestly, well done for that. And guys, it's honestly, I'm really, I'm truly smiling on the outside and inside. It's really inspiring. And now it's time for you guys to ask questions to Erik, and I'm going to read out questions. But before I do, Erik, I want to ask you about one piece of advice. So you've just given an advice, but no, that's not advice. Let's talk about you. What are your goals at FundingPips? What do you want to achieve? I understand how you trade. I understand that you are not very much, stressed about those big rewards. But what are your goals? Because I can see one thing. You're a guy with a goal, long-term goal, not in a month, not in 3 months. But what is it that you want to achieve in next 12 months, for example?
Yeah, so my goals with FundingPips specifically are obviously you can scale a bunch in FundingPips. I've looked into that, the hot seat.
Yes.
And I'm also very curious about increasing my daily max drawdown when you get into those different levels, because that allows me to risk a little bit more. That is more profit for me. And just in general, scaling. I'll be buying another account, and until I have max allocation with you guys, that is definitely my goal. And especially the hot seat, it is a very future goal. It will take a bunch of time, but eventually I'll get there. And so that is my absolute ultimate goal with you guys as a whole. Oh, the camera cut off?
Yes, I'm still here though. But the camera unfortunately has cut off. That's absolutely fine. We continue, and I'm going to continue reading the questions. So let's continue. This is the beauty of a live stream. So let's keep it going. Thank you so much for sharing all of this. I honestly wish you all the best, and I am pretty sure you're going to get there. And I'm pretty sure we're going to sit down again.
Quick question. So what about the comments? I see a bunch of questions being asked.
I'm about to read those out to you. And actually, one of the first ones that I'm going to go with is, how do you manage your drawdown? And do you always watch your P&L? So I think, the drawdown questions are always the questions that we want to find out about the most from a trader.
Yeah. Especially in my way of trading. So the drawdown is huge. I get into drawdown a lot. So the students in my mentorship are, they are used to that kind of thing. But I'm I'm okay with going 7. So when I'm risking 1%, for example, on a 100K account, and I'm into drawdown for $700, I'm okay with that. Now, to the question, do you always watch your P&L? No, I sometimes watch into it because in my opinion, it is important to watch your trade over the day, maybe once or twice, just to see, isn't there any problems? Did I really take on the right lot size? But that is really it. The problem is people like to stick onto the chart and look at the P&L. This is the worst part ever. So I look into the chart here and there once or twice a day after I've taken a trade, but that is it. And in the days where I don't take a trade at all, then I'm not looking at the chart at all.
Okay, beautiful. Thank you. I have a next question, which is, what would you tell someone who has been in the markets for 6 years, still with no profits?
I think that you just haven't had that right kind of teacher and mentor who's telling you that, quite honestly, because when you have the right person telling you something, step by step, like literally holding you a hand, right? Then I think it's almost impossible to not be profitable, right? Because I'm also a big believer that everybody can be successful in trading. You don't have to have a math degree or in some kind of university or something. Everybody can be a trader. And so if you're not profitable over 6 years, then I would advise you find someone who actually knows what they're doing with proven certificates, right? Not just fluff. Okay, I made 50K this month, but with proven certificates. Here's what I did. Here's what I can teach. And that is it, basically. So I think it's about having the right mentor.
Okay,
honestly.
perfect. And that is true, because you can be self-taught. That may work as well, but then there is sometimes a time when you need actually guidance and someone to hold your hand through certain things and through their experience tell you what works, what doesn't work, and support you. So that is a solid advice, actually. Now I have further questions, and there is a lot of questions though, and
I'm all for it.
Yeah,
let's answer all of them.
There is a repeated question about your strategy. Now, how about you walk our traders through maybe your routine in the market? So you kind of, come to the market. What kind of time frame do you look at? How do you analyze? Do you look at daily, weekly? Like, what is your kind of, checklist, let's say, in the market?
So obviously I don't really have a chart to show right now on the screen. For more specifics, you would have to join the Discord. And I'm showing all of my trades in there. But to go over it a little bit, as a whole. So when I just join the market, what I do is I look at the weekly chart. That is the first thing I do, because I'm sort of an intraday trader, and I like to hold my trades within the same day I'm out. But sometimes I get those trades where I'm through the weekend, maybe 1 or 2 days, sometimes even 3 days. That is normal in my way of trading. And after I looked into the weekly, I look into the daily, and what I personally I look for easy targets that the market will hit. Again, I don't focus on the timing. I just focus on where is it extremely likely that price will go. After I have determined that, and that comes from a lot of experience and backtesting again. And after that is done, then I can look for my entry. And only if, the criteria is met, then I start looking at my entry. And what I look for my entry is something very simple. I look for fair value gaps, FEGs that get traded into, and then I just target that specific target, if not even less than that. So let's just say my target, I'm longing, right? Let's just say my target is here, the key level that I've marked out, and I'm entering right in here. Then my take profit will just be in here. That is what I do. I don't trade. I don't go for that extreme high when longing, right? But I just go for a very easy target. And onto the stop loss. Stop loss is below or above a major swing low or high. That is resulting into having a wide stop loss. But since the win rate is just so high, it adds up, and I'm in the net profit, basically.
Beautiful. And you know what I love? That you developed your way of trading. Because look, we can follow strategies, have mentors, etc. But there becomes a time when you're a trader that you need to develop your style. What works for you, what doesn't work for you, based on your emotional capacity, based on your technicals, based on what is going to give you profitability. Because at the end of the day, we get into the markets to earn. That's it.
Yep.
That's what we're there for,
Yes.
So you need to think, what do you need to do as a trader to maximize that probability for yourself? It's not about involvement every day. No, it's about understanding things about yourself, about the markets, about the strategy you are trading, and combining that together. Now, I have another question, which is about your mindset. So what part of your mindset took you the longest to develop as a trader?
The part of my mindset that took the longest to develop, as talked earlier, I would say is definitely patient and looking more into the long term. Because often we're just stuck into that in the moment right now. We're just stuck, okay, so I just made a loss of 5K as an example, and yeah, I'm a bad trader. That's it. Okay, close the chart, and I'm never going back to that stuff again. But that's wrong. So the most development I had is definitely just being consistent and patient, and also sticking to the hard times when it's so. I see it as a test every single time that you have this breaking point. It's like, man, screw all of this. I lost X amount of money. I'll never come back to this ever again. That is the test. That is the test about, okay, will you stick to this or not? So how bad do you want it? How bad do you actually want it? So if you don't want it bad enough, then you will not pass those tests. You'll just say, okay, that's it. But if you want it extremely hard, you will stick to this, even if you're 6 years into trading, if you have just mentioned it, right? Because I personally have that kind of mindset. Even if I would be 6 years into trading, right, I would still stick to this. Even if I'm not profitable yet, I would still stick to this until I'm profitable.
Amazing. That's just nothing but the truth. I will take 2 more questions because we are nearing an hour, but I have a very interesting one. Here it goes. What are you trading for? What are your personal plans for future, and how are you planning to spend the rewards from FundingPips? What dreams and goals do you want to achieve through trading?
So my future goals as a whole. So we've talked about the specific goals in FundingPips, the hot seat. That is something I'm looking forward into the future. In terms of my personal goals, I'm already doing that because I've mentioned it earlier. I'm not only with FundingPips, I'm with other platforms as well, right? And I'm increasing my personal account. And I think that is also important, not just trading platform accounts. Platform accounts are a great opportunity for you. It has never been that easy getting into trading and making lots of money. With trading right now. If anybody wants to become a trader, right now is the point, because platforms made it very easy for us. Of course, everything has its ups and downsides, but I would say the upsides definitely are higher than the downsides. And my future plans are increasing my personal account, staying consistent with what I'm doing right now. And there's a saying we all know: don't change a running system. If it's already working, don't change it. Just stick to it. There's no problem. Even if it's boring, it makes me money. That is what counts by the end of the day. And you've also mentioned that previously, right? So sometimes people like to say trading is more than just about money. And it is more about money in terms of that you have to sacrifice for it. Yes, it is more than just money. You have to cut off people. You have to cut off certain things you're doing in your life in order to make this work. That is true. But at the end of the day, it is really just about money, because that's what we all started for. We didn't start it to look at the charts all day. We did it for the opposite, to not look at the charts and sit in the office the entire day.
Absolutely. And you mentioned something here really meaningful. There are some things you need to cut off: people, environments, things. What was it like for you? What did you have to sacrifice? I know you already sacrificed sleep because you had to work, backtest, and make it work for yourself. But what other sacrifices did you have to make?
Yeah, countless of sacrifices. And Well, it is friends that I had to cut off, just in general, people that I had to cut off. My family also didn't believe in that stuff. My
Mhm.
family just thought, why are you even doing this? Is all just a scam, right? And and this is also another thing for everybody doing trading, and that your parents, because I'm more of a younger trader, right? There's another thing, if your parents or relatives don't believe in that, or even friends, but especially parents. So don't be too hard on them and thinking that, well, why they don't believe in me, because they have never seen something else in their life. They come from a way different generation where there hasn't been so many traders out there, especially young ones that are trying to make it in this game, right? So instead of being mad at them, try to understand them and be a little bit more sympathetic as a whole. And
Absolutely.
that is just
Absolutely.
basically.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for this conversation. I really thoroughly enjoyed it,
And also,
and go on.
yeah, and another part is of sacrificing, yeah, sleep also. And I would say I sacrificed my health for it, right? My entire health, because sleeping that little and then going to an 8-hour shift, coming home back testing the entire charts the entire day, coming back, that is really bad for your sleep. And yeah, if there's also another advice I can give to somebody, maybe even already profitable, right? Because of course, we're trying to give advice to somebody who isn't there yet. But even if somebody is already profitable, keep journaling your trades. This is something also very overlooked about traders, that they don't journal their trades because out of laziness, right? It gets that kind of habit, that at the beginning it's kind of interesting. Yeah, I'm journaling my trades, but after like a week or so, we thinking, well, why am I even doing this? But it's extremely important that you journal your trades every single day. Why? Because the market changes. Your strategy might not work in a year or two. The market changes. It behaves the same every single day, basically, but it also changes. If you try to trade your same strategy 20 years ago, it will not have the same performance. That is why I recommend to you having a journal. The journal I use is TradeLens. It is absolutely great, and you can customize it. Just absolutely massive. I just wanted to recommend that to everybody that is trying to find a good journal, because we like using Notion. Notion is cool, it's not bad. But the problem about Notion is it's not tracking it automatically, and you have just so many statistics in that journal that tell you what you have to improve in your strategy in order to make it work. And yeah, I just really recommend it. TradeLens is the journal to go. I personally use it myself.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Erik. I really enjoyed our conversation. I really enjoyed learning about you as a trader, as a person. I really enjoyed your sharing your knowledge, through what you have experienced as a trader. And thank you for that. I personally learned a lot from you. I always reflect after every single conversation I have with traders, and I am pretty sure we're going to have another conversation, perhaps when you hit your milestone, and
Yes.
we can sit down together.
Definitely,
Maybe
I'm all for it. When I'm at
exactly.
10K or whatever it is, I'm here for the interview. Hit me up
Um,
anytime. Also,
we will.
there's somebody asking in the chat, can you show me your trade setup again? I can't show a trade setup right now. I'm doing an interview, but if you want to know more, join the Discord. And I will also shout out some people. Is that okay? If I shout
Of
out some
course,
people,
of
right?
course.
Shout out to my girlfriend, really helping me out for this entire journey, making it very easy on myself, not having to cook and all of that kind of stuff, having more time into back testing. And shout out to Siemens, shout out to Matfe and Foxkey for all, always believing in me and not just thinking that this is a scam. Yeah, I'm all for it.
They are amazing. I'm really happy that you have such a wonderful support network around you. And I want to give shout out to those people too. And I really hope that
Yes.
you traders, latch onto those people that support you. Really appreciate those people who support you on your trading journey, especially when you're at your lowest and they still by your side, helping you and supporting you and believing in you. Sometimes when we lose the belief in ourselves, they stand by us and push us forward. Never let go of those people, and remember about those people when you make it, because
Yes.
they play a big part on our journeys as traders. And now we promise to give 5K accounts. So please comment under the video. So after we finish this live stream, head to FundingPips YouTube channel. If you are watching on X, head to FundingPips YouTube channel, go under the video and comment, what have you learned from Erik today? Because He shared so much knowledge, and I want to know, what have you learned and what are you going to implement in your day-to-day approach or the way you look at things? And we will announce 5 winners in next week's blog, which is going to be published on Tuesday, the day before next success story. And we will pin it to the comment section on YouTube, and then you can find out, and then we're going to contact you and gift you your accounts.
I really
Erik,
offer it, guys. Try to get those 5K accounts. And just quickly, I also have a YouTube channel called Start Trading. If you want to know more about me, there it is.
we will attach Erik's social media handles to our description, so you can go and follow him and learn from him more. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much, Erik. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking with you.
Thank you.
And I'm pretty sure we're going to speak some more when you grow more, when you achieve more. And it's a pleasure having such traders as you part of our community.
Yes.
Thank you.
Guys, see you guys. You get this.
Thank you so much.
Where success meets psychology. In Paulina's way, strengthen your mindset every week. Success story every Wednesday. Traders who broke through their limits. Psychology session every Friday. Join now. Hit the bell. One session could change your trading forever. FundingPips. Built by traders for traders.